There was a time when the rumbling, then the chugging, the hissing, then the screeching sounds of a train as it came to a halt was music to the ears of a man or woman rushing home from a hard day's work. Today we go back in time and jump on and off the track and then come right back to our existing mode of public and private transportation. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry and this is Jamaica Magazine. You can't afford to miss even a tops of today's show, so stay with me.
Hear this, youth, older people, mature people, anyone who is listening right now, don't wait for extraordinary moments. Seize small opportunities and make them great. I've learned that through this experience. So if you have an idea, there's something that you want to do and you have not sought out an avenue, trust me, the time is now. Get it done.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 29. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has instructed the Ministry of National Security to set aside resources to incentivize information sharing that leads to the arrest and charge of child murderers, molesters, and traffickers. The money is to come from the $100 million Get the Guns campaign fund. Mr. Holness made the disclosure during Monday's meeting with the family of slain teen Yatanya Francis. The 14-year-old's charred remains were found in her Arnett Gardens community on Friday after she had gone missing the day before. While assuring Yatanya's family of the police's resolve to ensure justice, Prime Minister Holness made a personal donation of $200,000 to assist with funeral expenses. The Prime Minister also personally committed $100,000 to Crime Stop for information leading to the arrest and charge of those responsible for Yatanya's death. To that end, Mr. Holness called on communities to ensure there's no safe haven for criminals. He also urged the Jamaicans to tell what they know through channels such as Crime Stop. Meanwhile, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is urging citizens to join the police as they redouble their efforts to rid the country of criminals. Dr. Chang's plea follows the August 19 murder of Constable Rowan Buckner of the Little London Police Station in Westmoreland. Reports are that the 41-year-old policeman was at a barbershop in the parish when he was attacked and killed by gunmen. During a recent visit with the slain cop's family, the security minister committed state resources to support the police's efforts in bringing crime to heel.
The team in Westmoreland have been working hard and working very effectively, and I want to commend them and reassure the public that these officers in Westmoreland are not going to relent on the job they are doing, because it is their intention to restore peace and safety to the people in Westmoreland.
We are committed to the task of ensuring that we fulfill our obligations as it relates to law enforcement, and we will do all that we have to do to ensure that the public is secured.
Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck says he will be taking a submission to Cabinet to explore making all crimes expungible.
There are some people who will never make friends with society, and they should be known. They should keep their criminal convictions. But those who pay their due and start to lead a decent, upright life, and has done so, before they go off and they ask for their record to be expunged, it is something that should be considered.
Minister Chuck was speaking at the Justices of the Peace training session in Manchester last Friday. Currently, expungement is only available for minor crimes such as simple larceny, malicious destruction of property, possession or dealing in ganja, bribery, and forging of documents. The minister says the proposal to expand that category is in the early stages and would not include offering automatic expungement for certain crimes. For the first time since 2004, the financial records of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, are up to date. The NSWMA board recently approved the agency's 2017-2018 audited financial statement. At a meeting Tuesday, Chairman Dennis Chung said the authority's main and regional offices' financial statements were accepted with minor changes.
It has enabled us to better manage the organization because at least now we have financial statements that we can rely on and use as a base for moving forward.
Mr. Chung said this was significant, as up to 3 years ago, the statements were 9 years outdated. Persons living on and traversing Bay Farm Road in St. Andrew should have a smoother ride in the next 4 to 6 days. The National Water Commission and the National Works Agency will be repaving the roadway following the installation of sewers and laterals as part of the Bay Farm Road Sewerage Improvement Project. The project, which is 90% complete, began in February last year and is part of a broader program to upgrade wastewater infrastructure in the corporate area. And finally, the Ministry of Health is reassuring the public that there is no shortage of the anesthetic gas nitrous oxide at the island's public hospitals. Nitrous oxide is used in surgery and dentistry for its anesthetic and pain-reducing effects. In a release Tuesday, the Health Ministry said only the University Hospital of the West Indies was low on the drug, but added that the institution had received assistance from the Kingston Public Hospital. The ministry also asserted that the supplier of nitrous oxide had begun distributing the product and expects that the shortage at the University Hospital will be alleviated in short order. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Don't drink alcohol and drive. Don't drive tired or sleepy. Don't tailgate and don't overtake unless it is safe to do so. And always drive at a speed which will allow you time to stop quickly and safely. Let's keep it safe on our roads.
With the restoration of rail service for movement of cargo, passengers and rail-based tourism is still a big priority on our government's list. It's important to understand the history behind the development of this form of transportation. Watch as we take you from the 1845 inaugural run of the railway in Jamaica to 2018.
We see railroads all over the country, but have we ever stopped to think about what good they are, other than a train or two passing by and days too infrequent to even remember? Asphalt is the not so new but most popular way of getting around the country. But before that development, Jamaica was known for the rail. A cutting-edge technology in our nation's earlier years, the railroad industry has done a great deal for the development of Jamaica. Come with us as we take a step back in time while traversing the metal tracks of our country.
The inaugural run of the railway in Jamaica actually took place on the 21st of November, 1845. However, the competition as to whether the Jamaican rail system or the Canadian system was the first in the Western Hemisphere outside of Europe and particularly Britain would have to deal with whether when the proclamation and the order to get the railway started, if you use that as the starting date, it's actually 1842 and not 45. The rail service became necessary in Jamaica after the abolition of slavery in 1838. You needed a replacement in the production cycle of getting sugar cane to the market, and a cheap means of transport was necessary, or became the necessary element as a replacement for cheap labor. And therein lies the rub as to why rail makes sense, not only then but now in Jamaica.
Entrenched in the rich dirt soil of the land, the wheels of the railroad industry began to turn, and things were looking hopeful for the nation.
One of the fascinating things about rail, and this happened not only for sugar, but for banana, for bauxite, and for passenger service, is that the operating costs for carrying one coach is pretty much the same from a marginal cost standpoint as carrying 100 coaches. So you put together what is called a train consist that gives you an efficiency, bar none, when it comes to land transport in moving people or in moving goods from one point to the next over extended long distance. The economics of that make a lot of sense in cheaper transport costs. So who benefits? The consumer, the user, the commuter, the person who has to take goods from Kingston to Montego Bay, because the more you carry is the less it costs you. That translates to benefiting the final user of a product or a service, because they end up paying less in transport costs, which is a factor into that final price of the goods because of the use of rail service. There is also savings from less accidents. It is a safer means of transport than other land transport means. So it's not only less costly or the most cost-effective land transport, it's also the safest means of land transport. Our history and our record is that we actually is one of the safest railway in the world during our operation.
But something or things happened that shook the railroad industry as a form of public transportation. Maybe not forever, but for a period far too long to ever forget. For the wheels just stopped turning.
The operation ended because the use of rail for passenger service on a national scale was not as economic as it needed to be. And without subsidy, the corporation found it difficult to continue. The capital outlay for rail and the maintenance operation is significant and costly. And over time, we found ourselves, the railway found ourselves not being able to properly maintain its infrastructure. Passenger rail has not been in operation since 1990, but other operations such as cargo has been in operation.
April 16, 2011 witnessed the reinstatement of trains into the formal transportation system. It's a work in progress, and the 2017-2018 operational plan for the Ministry of Transport and Mining is set on revitalizing the railroad industry. According to that plan, a priority program of the ministry is the restoration of rail service, facilitating the movement of cargo and passengers, and the development of a rail-based tourism attraction tour.
Revitalization plan that we have will make significant economic development contribution to Jamaica. I know there are concerns about whether, like other public transport, it will have to be subsidized. No. We will operate a business model that requires no subsidy from government. We have studies that show that a link from Kingston to Montego Bay alone, nowhere else, just Kingston to Montego Bay alone, will add $100 million per annum to the GDP. That's separate and apart from the labor value added, which is another $5 or to $10 million annually. All the ripple effect of the communities along the route that will be developed for tourism. The business case suggests that you make significant financial gains or benefit in those areas. The first revitalized component will be from Montego Bay to Appleton, and that in itself tells you what one of the main attractions is. It also opens up the Wise Fall, the South Coast, and a number of other attractions that are in the interior of the island. We kind of had lost that vision once. We have recognized that again, and we are therefore pushing full steam ahead to ensuring that the rail revitalization plan for Jamaica come on stream, take off, and that we'll be back on track with rail operation in the near future.
So, if you missed the train the last time around, don't worry, because pretty soon we'll be traveling the metal rails again.
Did you know that the EU has been doing a lot of work in Jamaica? The EU provided some 23 billion Jamaican dollars to help people living in sugar-dependent areas. This means new houses for sugar estate workers, rehabilitated roads, improved schools, health centers, vocational training, business grants, and a wide range of action to improve the lives of people in sugar-dependent areas.
Life sweeter for true with the EU.
All this talk about transportation has me feeling sort of like an athlete doing the paces around the track. No, I'm not at all out of shape, but let's slow things down a bit. And not too slow though, because we're zoning in on our youth. Local government recently launched its Youth Summer Employment Program, which has been extended beyond the summer period. Why? To prepare youth for the future and the world of work. Learn more next.
We are participants of the Youth Summer Employment Program.
YSEP is the Youth Summer Employment Program provided by the local government ministry, which enhances and prepares youth for the future working world.
It is critical that we expose the leaders of tomorrow to the workings of local government. When this program was initiated, we did so knowing that we were stepping into a new era of local government. Never before has the Ministry of Local Government embarked on a program specifically to employ young people in this country. We provided employment to over some 2,000 young people. We provided the employment to collect critical information on services provided by local government. We did an audit on streetlights. We did an audit on missing street signs across the country. We did an audit of the most vulnerable individuals across communities. And out of that audit, especially the streetlight audit, we were able to put ourselves in a position where we found out that at least 35% of streetlights that were not working across the country that we were still paying for. This year, we will have some unique features to the program. We have included disaster risk management as a core function of the Youth Summer Employment Program. We are going to retain those who are not going back to school until the end of this year. Out of that core that will deal specifically with disaster response, we are going to retain 150 of you island-wide to work specifically on disaster risk across the country. In order to facilitate, to input the data that will be collected, we're going to be identifying another 50 of you who are computer savvy. You will be retained within the municipal corporations to help to input the data that will be collected based on the survey. So we will be retaining until the end of the calendar year 200 of our finest and brightest young people to assist in the process. We have included property taxes as a critical area for employment this year. We have not done much on trade license. We have extended the program to include trade license.
We actually check in the hairdressers and barber shop for license, if it is licensed or not. And the billboard, we check if the billboard is working or not, or the signs that should not be there, we make a list to take them down if it's not paid for license. In terms of trade license, we check if the business is registered once you buy and sell, or you have a license for the business.
All 230 councillors across the country have an opportunity to make recommendations. We have also accepted recommendations from non-political organizations.
The experience has been great for me because it helps me to understand how business operates and how local governments function.
Youth Summer Employment Program. Look out for us in your community.
Can't help myself. Running time again. Right after this break, something that will require you to have a pen, paper, and an interest in riding the rails.
Jamaica, among the top 10 most improved economies in the world. That's right, our island's business environment has advanced to the extent that the World Bank has noticed. The multilateral agency has named Jamaica one of the most improved economies globally in which to do business in its newly released Doing Business Report 2016. This ranking is attributed to Jamaica's implementation of 4 major reforms over the past year. Investors have noticed too and are coming on board. So let's continue to work together to make Jamaica the place of choice to do business.
All right, let's do this. Railway fact number 1. 2 English brothers, William and David Smith, asked the government to allow them to build a railway in the country, and this was to become the first in the British West Indies. Number 2. By 1845, the first railway was completed and ran from Kingston to Spanish Town. Number 3. The government bought the railway company in 1879 and laid rails from Old Harbour via Maypen to Porus, and then from Spanish Town to Angels to Bogwalk to Linstead, and then on to Iwatan. And in 1894, the line to Montego Bay was opened. Number 4. In 1973, the Jamaica Railway Society's operational deficit rose significantly, which saw to the closure of several lines. And in 1992, public rail transport services ceased operation in Jamaica, although private industrial lines continue to operate today. Number 5. Public passenger service resumed in 2011 when a train operated from Maypen to Linstead. Got that? Good.
Jamaica, this is Kevin Downswell. We original. We're blessed. We have something about us that the world craves. We don't need to compromise. We don't need to rob. We don't need to thief nobody. Everybody who watch this have something unique in them that God placed in you, that was used to bring you favor, was used to bring you wealth. Find it. It's inside of you. Whether they're on the street side, something special inside of you. Whether they're at the bar and drink rum and you try to drink away your troubles, listen to me. And I'll say go. If you find that thing is what is the very thing that will bring you wealth, the very thing that will bring your life to a level you never imagined. Everybody out there have a choice. And my challenge to you is choose to do the right thing. Choose to not bust that gun. Choose to not smoke that weed. Choose the right thing. Your decision will create a habit, and your habit will create a future. That means if your decision is wrong every day, your future will end up being popped down. But if you decide that you're not going to do that, and you're going to stand up for the right, Watch it. Your future big. You're blessed. Jamaica, you're blessed. Youth, you're blessed. Girl, you're blessed. Love.
And just before we leave you for today, here's a last-minute back-to-school checklist.
It's that time of year when we say farewell to the carefree days of summer and welcome a new academic year filled with loads of promise. We want to ensure there's a smooth transition for all stakeholders. So we've prepared a last-minute back-to-school checklist to ease any worries you may have. Take notes. First tip, know the rules of the road. No, we don't mean the road code. What we mean is familiarizing yourself with the routes to and from the school. That way, when school resumes, you and your child can use the quickest and most convenient way to get there. And what's even more important, your child won't get lost. Now is also the time for you to finalize pickup and drop-off arrangements with taxis or buses. And be sure to inform the teacher of these arrangements. Your child's health is paramount. Visit the doctor to get his or her immunization up to date and have a complete medical check done. A dentist visit is also on the list. By now, all the school registration documents would have been submitted. If not, use the orientation day to turn in all outstanding documents. You may also want to use the orientation to drop off your child's textbooks to his or her teacher. This way, you'll be able to steer clear of the traditional first day of school rush. Next tip, deportment matters. By now, you should be aware of the school's uniform requirements. If the attire is not quite up to scratch, make the necessary adjustments. That may include exchanging the shoes or bags or making alterations to the uniform. Also ensure that your child's hair is groomed to meet the school's standards. Stay ahead of the curve on the home front. Assign a section of your home for all the things your child will need to function during school time. That way, he or she will know where to look when they need any school-related supplies. Ensure your child has been familiarizing him or herself with the information in the textbooks. Nutrition is also critical. Be sure to purchase additional food items to cover breakfast and possibly lunch for your child. Summer was fun, we know. Late nights and even later mornings. But with school on the horizon, have your child return to his or her bedtime routine. Trust me, you'll thank me later.
And this is where we'll have to leave you for today's show. But do join us again tomorrow for what promises to be another informative edition. If you missed anything, watch it all again on our website or our YouTube page. And don't forget to keep up with us via our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.